I get it's only been one start, but Rickie Collins has got to be a lot better.
You are Locked On Syracuse, your daily podcast on the Syracuse Orange. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, everyone, and welcome into Locked On Syracuse. I'm Jackson Holzer. Thank you for making us your first listen of every single day here on the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day, and we are always free and available wherever you get your podcasts, whether you're watching Locked On Syracuse right now on YouTube or you're listening on your favorite audio platform. And on this Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening, whatever you want to call it, we are reacting to your takes following Syracuse football's disastrous loss, nightmare loss on Saturday, 38-3 to the Duke Blue Devils inside the Dome. That's right. It's your fan reaction podcast. Got plenty to discuss. The defensive coordinator, Elijah Robinson, stick around later on in the show as we address the defense for this team, all the miscues that happened in this game, and of course, a lot of talk about Syracuse's new starting quarterback in Rickie Collins. All that and more here on today's edition of Locked On Syracuse. And before we get to everything, today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Download the app today. So, like usual, I'm going to put some of the comments on the screen. If you're watching on YouTube, if you are listening on any audio platform, that's okay. I will read you some of your fan comments, and then we will react to them here on Locked On Syracuse. And let's start with the first one right here from Tim. I think Fran Brown lied to us about the quarterback competition. Of course, Syracuse head coach Fran Brown during the offseason was repeatedly saying how neck and neck the QB battle was between Steve Angeli and Rickie Collins. And Tim, I'm kind of with you on that. It's only been one game, though. It's only been one game, so we have to see how Rickie Collins progresses moving forward, if he even progresses moving forward, if he gets better, because it's not a guarantee that he's going to be better. But as of right now, I 100% get what you're saying, that Fran Brown wasn't exactly being fully transparent when he was saying, oh, these two quarterbacks, they're neck and neck between Steve Angeli and Rickie Collins. It doesn't feel that way, and I'm sure many of you have theories behind it. Some of you may say, hey, Fran Brown wasn't lying. I mean, that was just the reality, and this is how Rickie Collins is performing. I respect that take. I get it. Others may say, he was saying that to save face with Rickie Collins, keep him in the program. Who knows? There are plenty of theories out there. But as of right now, I completely see your point, because he was not very good. Rickie Collins, his numbers, 24-37 for 229, no touchdowns and an interception. Some of those stats, of course, came in garbage time. And I honestly feel with Rickie Collins' numbers that they're better than how it looked watching this game. Some of you may say that, hey, Steve Angeli, he struggled too with Syracuse in the beginning. Not exactly. Let's go through it again with Steve Angeli when he was the starter for Syracuse, okay? And by the way, he's not coming back. He tore his Achilles. First game against Tennessee. The numbers don't say that Steve Angeli had the greatest performance against Tennessee, but the eye test, at least for me, showed that Steve Angeli looked pretty good against Tennessee. Then he was awful for essentially 3.5 quarters against UConn. But from that point on, from the end of the fourth quarter into overtime against UConn, into the Colgate game, and throughout the Clemson game, Steve Angeli was playing at a very, very high level, to the point where before he got hurt, I was thinking this guy might be all ACC and that he might actually lead the nation in passing. And Rickie Collins, he's only made one start. He's also had some appearances here and there, right? He filled in at the end against Clemson, threw that touchdown to Justice Ross Simmons. He played against Colgate as well, had his bright spots in that game, and also, of course, a really bad interception in that one as well. But overall, he has not impressed me all that much. in what we have seen from Rickie Collins so far. And oh, by the way, I don't know if you guys caught this, but Pro Football Focus gave their ratings. They gave Rickie Collins on a scale of 0 to 100, 100 being the best, 0 being the worst. They gave Rickie Collins an 81.7 grade. All I got to say is that I don't think Pro Football Focus actually watched the Syracuse Duke game, because there is no way that Rickie Collins performed to a grade of 81.7, which is a very, very good grade. Did they see the amount of mistakes he made? That interception was terrible. The fumble towards the end of the first half when he just dropped the ball. The missed throw on a fourth down, even though it was 31-3, he misses a throw to Justice Ross Simmons that would have made it 1st and goal inside the 5-yard line. Too many mistakes from Rickie Collins, but he was not the only one. That I will give him. Rickie Collins was not the only one screwing up on Saturday against Duke, and that's how you lose 38-3. So it's not just on Rickie Collins, but he was not very good, and I get your point about Fran Brown maybe not being fully transparent in the offseason or in fall camp when talking about his quarterbacks. Let's move on now to Kyler. I'm sorry, but I think Jakari Williams would have looked better out there today than Rickie Collins, of course, referring to Saturday. He looked horrible, and I'm truly surprised he didn't have more turnovers. If he's this bad next week, they'll have to make a change to JW or go with one of the freshmen to give them at least an opportunity. We've got other athletic guys, so if all Rickie can bring is athleticism, there's no real reason to stick with him. With Rickie Collins, I do think he brings more than just pure athleticism. I do think he can throw the football, and he's got a ton of arm talent, but we'll get to it later on in the show. It's not just about your arm talent at this point. This is Division I football, but we'll get to that later on in the show. I'm glad you mentioned one of the freshmen in that comment there, Kyler, because I don't think it's Jakari Williams who's the third string guy. I actually think it's true freshman Luke Carney. And the reason why I believe this is because Luke Carney was the third guy that played in the Colgate game. Now, maybe it was something to do with Jakari Williams and not being available for that one. Sure. Maybe could have missed it. Maybe he was just inactive for it. Possibly injured. Don't know. But what we do know is that when Colgate happened, that game, and Rickie Collins was in and he had to come out for a play when his helmet popped off, they brought in Luke Carney for one play, which, by the way, he scored a touchdown on. And also, this is another reason why I don't want to give up on Rickie Collins just yet. That's right. I said it. I'm not giving up on Rickie Collins just yet. I don't think he played well, but I want to give him a little bit more time, because if not Rickie Collins, then who do you want playing for Syracuse football at quarterback? If not Rickie, then who? If you want to say one of the true freshmen, okay, but you better hope that they're ready, because there is no reason to be wasting college eligibility on these guys, or even worse, potentially ruining their confidence for the remainder of their time in college, because you started them when they weren't ready just yet. So as of right now, I'm still fully on board with Rickie Collins, because I don't see much of an alternative right now. That's no disrespect to Jakari Williams or a Luke Carney or a Rich Bellin. It's no disrespect to those guys, but this is mainly for the true freshmen here. Are you sure they're ready yet? Are you sure that they are ready just yet? I think for now, let's give Rickie Collins a little bit more time. Let's see how he performs next week against SMU. And then we have a whole bye week to make an evaluation on Rickie Collins and whether or not we want him continuing to be the starting quarterback of Syracuse football. But hey, I love your thoughts in the comments section below right now. Would you roll with Rickie Collins next Saturday against SMU? Sounds like Syracuse is going to do that. Or do you want them to make a change? Go with Luke Carney, or Rich Bellin, Jakari Williams. Comment your thoughts in the comment section below. Also, I want to throw this out. What's your leash on Rickie Collins, assuming he starts against SMU? Are you giving him the full game no matter what? Maybe you give him a quarter, give him a half, see where you're at. Comment your thoughts in the comment section below. Very curious what your takes are on that. Now, coming up, we still got plenty more to discuss here on Locked On Syracuse as we react to your takes following the Orange's 38-3 loss at home to Duke on Saturday. So stick with me here on Locked On Syracuse. Caffeine just got a flavor upgrade. 5-hour energy shots deliver tasty caffeine in 17 bold flavors. Each 2-ounce shot packs the caffeine of a premium 12-ounce cup of coffee, plus vitamins and nutrients with zero sugar and zero crashes. What I love most is how portable they are. Big taste, tiny shot. You can take it anywhere and get that boost when you need it. And honestly, I love how fast it kicks in and that it's sugar-free, so I don't have to worry about crashing later, of course. Enough with boring, flavorless caffeine. It's time to give your caffeine a flavor upgrade with 5-hour energy shots. Get the favorites of Be Bold and try something new in store and online at www.5hourenergy.com or Amazon today. Locked on Syracuse, I'm Jackson Holzer. Let's continue reacting to your takes following Syracuse's 38-3 loss to Duke on Saturday afternoon. Let's go to this comment here from Paul. First time I ever left a football game before end of third quarter. Only game I was going to be able to attend. May consider South Bend. Ugh, Fran Brown needs to at least start kicking the tires on Luke Carney. Paul, if I were in attendance with you, I'd probably leave around the same time as well. I completely understand it. I was actually at a Jets-Bills game a couple of weeks ago. Big New York Jets fan. I've mentioned it a few times here on the podcast. They're playing Monday night against Miami, and I'm actually in South Florida, and I'm not even attending that game because it's a freaking tank-off in that one. So I totally understand leaving game early. I left that Jets-Bills game in early fourth quarter. It was with a buddy of mine, and he was a Bills fan, so that's why we probably stayed a little bit longer, but I understand it. Regarding Luke Carney, either way, Paul, he's got to be ready. Because assuming he is, or he was the third string quarterback, with Steve Angeli out the entire season and nobody else is coming in now, it's just whatever you got in your room. You can't use the transfer portal mid-season to add players. Luke Carney is one snap away. So every week, Luke Carney is going to have to prepare like he is going to start the game, because if something happens to Rickie Collins, or maybe he underperforms, whatever the case may be, Luke Carney has got to be ready to get in there in moments' notice, just like how Rickie Collins was one play away when Steve Angeli was the quarterback. So Luke Carney, he's got to be ready one way or another to start games for Syracuse football, because it seems like he's their backup quarterback for the remainder of the season. But thank you so much for the comment there. Paul, let's go to at TDs-42099. I agree about being fooled, Jackson. This team never quits, in my opinion, but they did today for first time in Fran Brown era, and it was really disappointing to see. I think Rickie and the offense can improve over time, but on the road against SMU next week will probably be another rough week. Thank you so much for the comment there. We'll get into SMU more in depth later on in the week. I do think it'll be a very difficult test once again for Syracuse football, going on the road against a team last year that was in the college football playoff. And I understand that SMU is not having the same season like they did last year, but I still think this is a pretty formidable squad that Syracuse will be facing. As far as quitting is concerned, when I said that I felt fooled by Syracuse, it was more so I thought that they were going to perform better, that they were not really going to miss that much of a beat despite changing the quarterback, because I fell for the idea that, hey, Rickie Collins was neck and neck with Steve Angeli, and if Steve Angeli was performing at a high level, that means Rickie Collins should probably perform at a high level. So that's what I mean when I say I got fooled. But as far as the team quitting is concerned, I don't know if I would say they quit, because I do think they battled in this game from start to finish. They battled down 31-3. They just had a failed fourth down conversion. I think it was late third quarter, early fourth quarter, whatever the case may be. They tried to get that garbage time touchdown on the last play of the game. They were calling timeouts to try to get that touchdown, but unfortunately, they could not just punch it in there. I think the better way to describe Syracuse's performance against Duke is not that the team quit. It's that they were lifeless. They really didn't show much of a pulse from the Jonte Cook fumble forward. After the Jonte Cook fumble where the targeting, you can debate it. I know Fran Brown said in his press conference that it was the right call by the officials, that it wasn't targeting. Whatever the case may be, I'm done honestly trying to argue targeting or not. I don't think anyone actually knows what targeting is anymore. That's neither here nor there. But I think from that moment forward, Syracuse really couldn't get itself going. They didn't really seem to be able to flip that switch and start playing better football. So it's not that they quit. It's just that they were lifeless from that point on. But I get it, because when a team looks lifeless, that could be interpreted as the team was quitting, or it looks that way maybe. But I don't think they were quitting. I think they battled from start to finish. That being said, me saying that is to say, I mean, that's the bare minimum expectation. The bare minimum expectation is that you go out there, you do your best, you try your best, and that you're not going to quit. Even if the game gets out of hand, you're still going to continue playing from whistle to whistle, from 60 minutes on the clock, whatever the case may be. You get the idea. I don't think they quit, but they were definitely lifeless in the performance on Saturday. Let's get to another comment here from Patrick. Yeah, they were outplayed this game in all phases. They will learn, and this will undoubtedly be their worst game of the year. Rickie will get much better as well. He is a talented kid. Well, Fran Brown actually, in his post-game press conference, said it can't really get much worse. Spoiler alert, actually. I know this from experience. I think we all know this from experience. Watching any of our favorite sports teams, it can always get worse. Let's just put it that way. But I get what Fran Brown is saying. Patrick, I understand what you're saying as well. Losing 38-3 at home against Duke, I mean, it's hard to get worse than that. And you're right that Syracuse in this game did nothing well. Nothing well. That's why I don't put this game 100% on quarterback Rickie Collins, because what unit performed? Was the offense around Rickie Collins good either? No. Absolutely not. They kept shooting itself in the foot. Jonte Cook's second fumble was inexcusable. The offense had penalties too. Getting backed up near the own goal line. It was not just on Rickie Collins, but the offense was not very good. They only scored 3 points. So we can't say it was all Rickie Collins. The defense, I mean, defense was just terrible. We'll get into the defense in the next segment, but it was absolutely pathetic. The special teams even had some miscues. We went over them in the post-game show yesterday, how I don't know what Davian Kerr is doing catching a punt inside the 5-yard line. You don't catch a punt inside the 5-yard line. That's just a no-no. Jaden Hart on a couple kickoffs. I mean, I don't know what he's doing trying to return the kick. Just take the ball at the 25. If you're going to return a kick on a kick return, then you better return that sucker. Like, get to the 25 or more, because otherwise you lose field position. It doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to return it most of the time. Now, as far as Rickie Collins having talent, Patrick, he does have talent. He absolutely has talent. He's a former 4-star quarterback recruit out of Louisiana that originally went to LSU. LSU doesn't recruit guys to their program if they're not very good, if they're not very talented. That's not to say Syracuse recruits guys that aren't very talented, whatever the case may be. The point is that LSU is a different type of program here. So if they see something in you out of high school, it's for a reason. So clearly Rickie Collins has talent. But at this point, this is now his 3rd year in college. His 3rd year. I understand he doesn't have a lot of playing time, but it's his 3rd year in college. He has talent. Great. It's Division I football, though. It's more than just talent. How many guys, to borrow a phrase from Miracle, from Herb Brooks, you can't win on talent. You don't have enough talent to win on talent alone. How many guys in college football are the opposite of that, where they're just so good, it does not matter? Maybe only a handful of guys, if we're being honest. And with the quarterback, can he process a defense correctly pre-snap? Can he deliver on time and accurate balls on a consistent basis? Not occasionally, consistently. Can he be a leader? Leadership is very important at quarterback. The quarterback is the general, not just of the offense, but really the entire team. So it's not just about talent with Rickie Collins. He's got a lot of talent. That's great. So does everyone else, essentially. This is Division I football now, not high school. So Rickie Collins, he's got time to get better, but he's got to get better. Simple as that. And it's not just about him being talented or not. He's got talent. Now put it all together, hopefully next week against SMU. Comment your thoughts in the comment section below. Coming up, a couple more takes from you guys. We'll continue reacting to them here on Locked On Syracuse. One of the tools that help make a big difference for business owners is Quo, formerly Open Phone. It's the same great business phone system you've heard me talk about before, just with a new name. And here's why it matters. Every missed call is money left on the table. When every customer conversation counts, you need a phone system that keeps you connected 24/7. Quo is the #1 business phone system that streamlines customer communications. It works right through an app on your phone or computer, so no more carrying two phones or relying on a landline. Whether you're a solo operator juggling everything or part of a larger team, Quo makes it easy to stay responsive and professional. See why over 90,000 businesses trust Quo, formerly Open Phone. Get started free and get 20% off your first 6 months at quo.com/lockedoncollege. That's QUO.com/lockedoncollege. And you've got existing numbers with another service. Quo will port them over at no extra charge. Quo, no missed calls, no missed customers. The NFL season is here, and FanDuel has an offer you don't want to miss. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right, pick a bet, put down $5, and if it hits, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Whether you're a casual fan or love diving into the stats, FanDuel makes the game day experience so much better. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com, download the FanDuel app today, and get started. Let's continue reacting to your takes following Syracuse's 38-3 loss to the Duke Blue Devils on Saturday. And let's go over the defense a little bit, shall we? Shout out to James here because he posted a lot of numbers on Twitter. And I'm going to summarize these numbers here for you. If you're watching, obviously, you can see them. If you are listening, I'm not going to list every number out there for you, but you'll get the idea, okay? So shout out to James for these defensive numbers. He is showing the total yards the defense for Syracuse has allowed in every game since the beginning of 2024. Syracuse, of course, his defensive coordinator during that time has been Elijah Robinson. And to summarize, 2025, Syracuse has allowed all of its opponents, that includes Colgate, by the way, to gain at least 400 total yards. Every opponent, 5 for 5, 400 total yards. Two of those opponents over 500 yards. In week 1, Tennessee gained 493, so they almost got to 500 as well. For context, in 2024, Syracuse allowed its opponents to get to 400 total yards, I believe 5 times as well. Yep, 6 times actually, if I'm counting it correctly. 5 or 6 times. My eyes may be deceiving me, but regardless, that is essentially equal already to what Syracuse has done this season, and it's not like the defense was very good in 2024. So shout out to James for those numbers once again. And look, here's the deal. Elijah Robinson, the defensive coordinator of Syracuse, and Fran Brown obviously have a long and great working relationship, right? They have been together thick and thin. But at the end of the day, Elijah Robinson's the defensive coordinator. Fran Brown is the head coach, which technically means Fran Brown is the boss of Elijah Robinson. And personal relationships aside, Elijah Robinson has got to be on the hot seat. I'm not saying that Syracuse should fire him now because I don't see the point in firing the defensive coordinator at this point of the season. What are you really trying to accomplish? You're not going to get anyone. You're just going to promote from within anyway at this point. You got to give him till the end of the year to see maybe if the defense could really substantially improve. But here's the best way to summarize the defense. Every time you think it's taking a step forward in the right direction, they take 2 steps back. Against Clemson, it felt like they performed at a pretty nice level, even though they let up a lot of yards. And so I was hoping that they could at least somewhat perform against Duke. And it was the exact opposite. They were terrible against the Duke Blue Devils in really all aspect. They blitzed a lot and they couldn't get pressure. And so when you blitz a lot and you can't get pressure, well, then every single wide receiver for Duke is left one-on-one. And they just beat our secondary up. So at the end of the day, Elijah Robinson is the defensive coordinator of Syracuse. The fact that now in a year and a half, essentially, he has not been able to really build a good defense. Last year, it was average at best. He's got to be on the hot seat. And I get he's a great recruiter. He was once the number one recruiter in the nation by 24/7 Sports. He helped Texas A&M get the number one recruiting class in the country a few years ago. I understand all the advantages he brings, but he is a defensive coordinator, and his defenses, quite frankly, have not been very good. And we have seen Fran Brown let go of coordinators. He did it last year with the special teams. He changed coordinators there. So I understand they have a relationship, but Elijah Robinson, I would not be surprised if this continues. I would not be surprised if he is let go in the offseason. Comment your thoughts in the comment section below right now. Do you think that Elijah Robinson will be back for 2026 as Syracuse's defensive coordinator? Honestly, as of right now, I'm leaning towards no. I do think that Syracuse will go in another direction if this continues, because I don't know how you can justify to anyone how he should get year 3. Now, again, I want to clarify, I'm not talking about Fran Brown. I'm talking about Elijah Robinson, the defensive coordinator. But I don't think he should get year 3 at this point. Got to get a lot better there. Final comment here. Season is over. Short and sweet, to the point right there. Look, Syracuse is 3-2 right now with 1 loss in the ACC. And at this point, after watching the game on Saturday against Duke, do any of us really believe that Syracuse can compete for an ACC title? Probably not. If we're being honest, we're gonna cheer for the team. We hope they win every single game. If we're being realistic, take the orange-colored glasses off for just a moment. They're not running the table in the ACC. I would love them to do that. I would love them to go 6-0 for the remainder of their conference schedule, but I don't see that happening. And it's very difficult to get into the ACC title with already 2 losses. And if you lose 2 more times in the ACC, which makes it 3 losses, you're done from an ACC conference title, and you're not going to be really considered for a college football playoff either at that point. So from that standpoint, is the season over? Yeah. It's over. They're not going to do it. I wish they do, but they're simply not good enough. And even if they do turn it around, and I hope they do, you're always going to have that game on your resume. It doesn't go away. It just doesn't go away. It's like what happened last year against Pitt. How Syracuse was a great team, but that was a big wart on the schedule, losing in a blowout fashion to Pitt. Counts as a loss, and it's a blowout as well. But can Syracuse still make a bowl? I feel like we have this conversation every week because it seems like it could come down to the wire here with Syracuse. Yeah, I still think they could make a bowl. I'm not ready to go that far where I say this is no longer a bowl team. They still have Boston College on the schedule at home to end the regular season. North Carolina on Halloween at home as well. Those aren't really good teams in the ACC. I think we can all agree Syracuse can beat those teams. Not going to sit here and guarantee wins against those programs, but they could probably beat those teams. And then just find one more win on the schedule, and you have 6 wins. They could still make a bowl in 2025. So, yeah, season is over as far as ACC title contention, but making a bowl, I think it could very well come down to that final game of the regular season. I could very much see a scenario where Syracuse is 5-6, and they need to beat Boston College at home to make a bowl in 2025. Do you feel the same way? Comment your thoughts in the comment section below. Of course, thank you all so much who chimed in post-game. If I didn't get to your comment, I apologize. Hopefully I get into your comments next week here on Locked On Syracuse. Now, as far as what's coming up on the podcast here in the near future, tomorrow, we got big picture takeaways of this game. We're only going to do one more podcast talking about Syracuse and Duke before we move on Tuesday when we discuss Syracuse's next opponent in SMU. All that and more coming up on Locked On Syracuse here in the near future. And folks, thank you all so much for watching. Thank you all so much for listening. If you like this podcast, be sure to hit that like button. If you really enjoy the podcast, be sure to hit subscribe. Tell all your friends about Locked On Syracuse, and I'll see you all again soon.